Hello, everyone. This is David Carley with davidcarley.com, an entrepreneur MD on the DCTV network. So I'm joined by my partners, Adam and Aaron from Within Marketing out of Tampa and Orlando. Correct, guys? They get around, right? They're in a lot of places. They're busy guys. Anyway, Adam and Aaron have been terrific to work with. They actually are my marketing team, and I'm pleased to have them on the Zoom call tonight, and we're going to talk about something really cool. I had suggested to both of them that we talk about modern social media, and they were kind of along the same thought process, and really kind of put this together to help people understand that it is a changing and dynamic landscape. And it's not the Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn of old. It really has changed quite a bit, and understanding those changes really becomes critical in using it as a resource to continue to advance your brand, advance your company, advance your product, whatever it might be. So Adam, Aaron, welcome, guys. So awesome to see you as always. And tell us a little bit about what's changing in the landscape on social media.
Sure. No, it's great. We appreciate you having us on. So there's going to be, some upcoming social media changes specifically on Facebook. They're referring to as Facebook Zero. A couple people joke and they call it the apocalypse. Essentially what they're saying in a nutshell is for the novice and even for the occasional weekend marketer, so to speak, that the landscape of marketing on Facebook is going to change drastically. Aaron actually did the initial research and has been developing some different plans and strategies to work around it. So I'm going to go ahead and pass off on to him for him to start going deep into the Facebook changes.
Yeah, guys. Hey, great to see you both. Great to be here and have this chat. I think it's going to be pretty informative and valuable to people. Over the course of, I guess, the last 3 to 4 weeks, people have been kind of concerned about Facebook Zero, Facebook Apocalypse. There's a lot of big changes coming, some which, I'm actually pretty excited for. I kind of view these things like if you look at the stock market and guys like Ray Dalio and Warren Buffett who tend to go all in when we hit these troughs and things are down. That's kind of how I look at it. We can look at it as like evening the playing field now for marketers, in my opinion. It's causing all of us to be a little bit more creative. And I'll explain a little bit about what I mean. So essentially the initial person who uses Facebook for business, let's call it a musician, an artist, someone who owns a small bakery, they typically run their own social media. They do it on their own and they post about their business. Even another good example is an MLM, multi-level marketer, who basically uses their personal Facebook as a launch pad for their business. It's the way that they talk to their potential clients and past clients and current clients. So all of that's going to be changing because essentially what Zuckerberg and Facebook wanted to do is they want to get back to more meaningful engagement, more meaningful conversation between person to person, not between brand page and person. They want to kind of make it to where it was in the beginning and a lot of where it is already going. You see a little bit of an older demographic gravitating towards it. So it's grandmothers talking to grandchildren, family, being in touch with each other, friends finding out where they're going to meet up on the weekend. So they want more of that stuff. They want longer comment engagement between each other, long format commenting, which is going to be more valuable than likes and shares, where before shares were way more valuable than a comment or a like. So that's going to be switching. So getting back on track, just to, think about it as somebody who's constantly promoting their small business. And I always go back to musician because of my background, but someone, a DJ or musician who's like, hey, come see me here, or I have this new release coming out. Those things are going to kind of begin to be demoted because it's just passive posting. There's no really a conversation being had. So we're just going to have to learn to be a little bit more creative on how we post and the content that we're putting out. something I thought that was really interesting is that Facebook already knows that they're going to lose usership over this, and they're completely willing to take that loss for the sacrifice of growing the platform to how they want it to be in the future, which is admirable a little bit, in my way of thinking. So,
Aaron, why do you think they're doing that? What is their strategy? Obviously, we can't speak for them. They have their own executive team to do so. But what are they doing with this? What's the point of trying to encourage that type of engagement versus
right.
another type of engagement?
I think it really just comes from the fact that they see that they want users to be on. Okay, so I don't know that they want is a strong word, but they see that there's value in users being on Facebook less time, but more quality time. Also, the way that I can interpret it, what they're doing here is basically restricting the amount of spammy kind of stuff that's going on. A lot of clickbait, a lot of fake news stuff, a lot of predatorial posts that are just kind of wrangling in people, chain letters, stuff that started happening in an email. If you remember about 10, 15 years ago when email was really at its peak, you saw a lot of chain letters, stuff like that. So they're trying to cut down the static noise and really amp up the quality conversation and engagement between people, which is exciting. I first was a little worried about it because we didn't know obviously how it would affect us as marketers. And I started to study a lot about it and listen to all the press releases that came out from Facebook and the videos that they've been putting out. And I was a little reluctant about it, but now I'm excited about it. Again, it's going to cause us as marketers to go back to our roots and be more creative about the way that we engage with our end user. And that's great.
Yeah. So, there's lots of interesting ethical and societal and maybe even political implications to that when you're an organization that's as large as Facebook. And, obviously they're going to have to deal with all of that concept of limiting people's speech and say what they want to say and when and why and where and how. But it certainly makes some sense. I agree with you. But, we hear stories of, social media influencers like Gary Vaynerchuk, or guys know I've been studying Grant Cardone quite a bit and have affiliated with his TV network, GCTV. So Grant would say, hey, everyone was telling me not to post so much, but I did the exact opposite, and I just posted more than anyone else, and I was able in part to build my social media presence just by putting out more content. So am I hearing that more content is still important, but not what it was? And can it actually work against you is the real question that a lot of people have. If I put out more content on my own, if I'm managing my account, is that going to hurt me? So we hear about algorithms and we hear about all these things behind the scenes. How does that apply in that particular instance?
Yeah, it's a great question. Actually, and so I understand the framework of that thought process, because all of us are eager to be motivated and to do more, and we gotta 10x everything. So, and I understand where he's coming from. And when he released that mindset, it was predated to the EdgeRank algorithm being the way it is now. Yes. So with that being said, from all that I read and all that I've researched, yes, post frequency will be demoted. So it's about high quality content posting and less frequent. So something that you got to do now is, we all have our followers that we built up over time and that we continue to build up, and we want to have that that growth and that followership. The one thing that you can do to kind of solidify the fact that they're going to even now see what you're posting organically. Now, we're not talking about what you do in the advertising space, which we can talk about as we go further into this. From the organic standpoint, all the followers you have now, you should definitely be teaching them and grooming them to do the see first option, which is when you go to somebody's page, you have an option of how you basically intake their timeline. So if you want to see all of the posts that they put out, you're almost like subscribing to their page. You can do see first. And we have some videos that we've accumulated. Social Media Examiner has a great one. Michael Stelzner, who's really been on the top of this topic. So getting your followers, grooming them, training them to do the see first, so that way they still see your all of your content that you're posting out. Again, at one point, organic posts had gotten down, I think it was 8 and 10%. And then over the past, I would say last quarter of last year, we were around 2 to 5%. With these new changes, we don't even know, where we're at below that. So with that being said, you definitely need to get somebody who understands Facebook ads and how to reach all of your network, and including the network out there that you're not reaching, and target them. And that's going to be the real key to this thing. I know that we talk a lot about it and the changes coming, and people that don't do ads and are organically posting, like the people that we talked about in the beginning, are kind of getting worried. But there is a solution to it that, it's not, let's not all go running off the platform. Again, there's, several billion people still on the platform, so it's still going to be a useful tool for people.
Right.
But yes, to your answer, frequency of posting is definitely affected. We're looking about once to twice a week tops now. And again, it's going to begin to be, for your organic users and your CFIRS, just a courtesy. So we want to post those videos, the ones like we do for you, the GCTV videos. Those are things. Those are a series of things where people look forward to those. So they're going to be able to see them there. Outlinking too is going to be demoted. So we need to keep everything on the Facebook platform and be able to watch those videos right there on the platform for them, not linking them out to anywhere else.
And by outlinking, you mean connecting different social media together, YouTube to LinkedIn, Facebook to Instagram, et cetera. That type of networking.
Absolutely, and which makes sense. You want to keep you don't want to drive people away from your platform. You want to keep them on it. So I would suggest, if you're going to do videos, at this point, until we don't know how far these changes are going to go, it's still happening over the past month, February, March into April. But I would still, if you're going to post your video, post it on Facebook. Facebook now has Facebook Watch platform, which is going to be bigger and better over the course of this year, which is going to be competitive with YouTube. So have the content there. If you already have a YouTube following, continue to have your YouTube post there. I just wouldn't link from Facebook to that YouTube. I would place it there. Obviously have your links to YouTube and your About Us and stuff like that, and be promoting all of your platforms on your social media.
Yeah. And it raises 2 points in my mind. Number one, do you think, well, two things. First, looks like there's going to be an opportunity for a new social media player without restriction, right? So by restricting, creates market opportunity for others. So do you think we'll see some new social media channels that develop because of this?
So Facebook did come out and say that their algorithm changes are going to be taking place on all of their products. So Facebook Local, Facebook Groups, Instagram is a Facebook entity. So that is going to be affected as well. We don't know the extent of how the algorithm will change, but I already feel a natural gravitation towards Instagram as being a stronger platform. I know LinkedIn is doing some bigger things with their ad platform and the way that the deliverables are happening on their algorithm, which is exciting for the business aspect, the B2B things that we're doing. But, Facebook still reigns as the most users in that, in that certain, particular age group and that demographic. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Yes, you're right. Out of change, always something, there's always a solution that happens, or a new wave, a new trend. That's why we're constantly saying that you need to be omnipresent. You need to have your message out on as many platforms as possible, because the way that people receive and digest content is different for each particular person.
Right.
Yet, you don't want to miss out on that.
Do you continue to see compartmentalization of each social media platform continuing? So, example, you have 3 different types of Facebooks. You got business page, you got a personal page, you got different types of elements, some of which are pay to play and some of which remain free. Do you think we'll continue to see different tiers or hierarchies developing within a social media platform to allow people to engage others in different ways?
So as everything that's coming from Facebook right now about the algorithm change is that it's at the content level. So all pages will be affected. That's personal, brand, pages, business pages, groups, everything. So it's not about how it's being delivered. It's the content that's at that level, being at the delivery level. So no matter what you put out, no matter what channel you put it out from on the Facebook platform, that's where the algorithm will analyze it and see how it scores it, so to speak. Whether it demotes it or whether it boosts it, because it's a quality engagement. It's a meaningful conversation. So
Yeah.
that's something, because a lot of people have already talked about, well, I know how I can trick the algorithm. I'll just go back to my personal page and I'll reshare stuff from my business page, or I'll go in and drop links in my comments. It's like I said, it's at the content level, so it's going to be really restricted, and it's going to make you think. It's going to make you work again. Here's a couple things that in the past that people have seen that are going to start to change. So the Merry Christmas posts with a nice, graphic saying Merry Christmas from a business, from a company, which was kind of standard over the holidays. You'd see a lot of those. That's going to be demoted. You'll see less of those because it's a passive, it's a one-sided post. There's no engagement there. Now, if you get creative about it, and say, okay, so for instance, maybe if you're CVS or Walmart or something, and or somebody who's going to be offering up like a gift wrapping service for free, maybe you do 3 or 4 different kinds of wrapping paper, and you say, we're going to be offering free wrapping paper because, Merry Christmas, we love all of our customers. Out of these 3 different wrapping papers, which would you most likely like your gifts wrapped in?
Yeah.
Now we begin a conversation about that in the comments. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of, mindset that we're going to have, which we already were doing, but it's going to be a little bit more important now and then be at the top of mind and the top of our, tactic.
Let's talk about advertising dollars, and obviously that changes things a bit if you're willing to spend money on these social media platforms. And does that impact the business social media strategy by increasing the efficiency of getting your message out simply by paying for advertising, whereas before it may have been a free service and you were able to beam out more freely and for free?
Yeah, no,
Right.
definitely. One of the things with that is, so before, if you had a really relevant fan base, and you put something out, whether it was a sale, a product item, or just, some information about your business, you're able to get a certain level of reach based off of the relevancy of followers you had. So if, say your business is, like in your case, where it's entrepreneurial, fitness, if, let's say you had 10,000 likes and 7,000 of those people are legitimately based on that interest level, then you would get more people organically to like your post, share it, and interact, which is a great thing. That being said, now especially with this change, as with other changes, when those likes begin to change, you could have a business that may have 400 or 500 likes, while it may not seem as reputable because it doesn't have 10,000. The reach value potentially, depending on how relevant or unrelevant your following is, could be the same. So then sprinkling in $5 on a boosted post just to reach that pinnacle, to target it correctly and get to that next level, versus say spending $100 on a likes campaign. So likes will still be needed, and it's kind of like having a rep. It's like, hey, my batting average is this. You automatically expect me to hit a home run. It's going to be important, but it's in a way going to yield an opportunity to the smaller business, as long as they play it right, that they can actually almost, in a way, get similar reach or a similar type of conversion with ad money that they couldn't get before. But it is going to most likely, like it did with Google AdWords years ago, it's started off affordable. Hey, I'm able to sell all these products, or we had an instance where this event that we just promoted, we're able to sell like a 10-12% conversion rate and did not spend very much on ads. Well, Google AdWords at one time was similar. Now it's, for things like lawyer, really hot topic words, you're spending $6 a click. And eventually the more people now that have no choice but to advertise, the cost is going to be driven up.
Yeah. And how's that different, Adam or Aaron, from this concept of buying followers, right? Where in the past, you'd see people with 250 followers in a week go from that to 7,000, right? And this concept of being able to do that, which is really just a marketing plan, right? It's a way to engage more people by using marketing dollars and advertising dollars. Is that going to go away? Is that going to be still a viable way to get your message out as opposed to organic growth? What are we going to see there?
So,
right here.
yeah, I was just going to say, in all honesty, organically, if you're trying to reach the people that are following you already, we have not seen, I guess, the smoke has not cleared yet from this thing, so we haven't seen the effects of it. But if I had to guess, it's going to be little to none. That the only reason that you'd even post on your timeline organically is for your see-firsters, which I was referring to earlier, the people that have selected to see your posts first in their timeline. These are dedicated followers to what you do. And as a courtesy to them, as something that you want to ongoing, because they're already groomed to go to your timeline and see those things. So you want to keep putting those things out, whether it's your blog posts or your videos or your whiteboard sessions or whatever that may be, that people will already have a connection to. That's a series. Anything that's a series that you want to continue to have that courtesy to. But outside of that, I think that we're all going to the ad network. So we're strategizing on really good content that we're targeting out on the pay-to-play platform, on the ad platform. And then anything organic, we really don't know how that's going to play. I think the only way to do it is to strike up that conversation between your users. Ask a question that it doesn't need to be a question that we're, as marketers, are trying to develop. It needs to be a question that you really seriously want to know the answer to from your users, from Facebook users.
Right. So the take-home message is engagement is king.
Yeah.
When you can engage others instead of just passively sending messages, that certainly should be a focus across the platforms moving forward. So a take-home message. Guys, do you see that, now that this is transitioning into more of a pay-to-play type of atmosphere, that the rates are going to go up over time and it's going to become more expensive to advertise compared to the way it was?
Yeah, I mean, Adam, I'll let you touch on this, but I just want to say in basic economics, because they haven't said if it'll affect the ad platform, because supposedly, or I guess speculatively, that is a separate algorithm, the way that they do the ad system, but they're all tied together. So we have not yet seen exactly how that's going to affect it. There's been some speculation and some theory, but I imagine in the basis of economics, the way things happen, that's going to be the case. Adam, if you want to touch on that a little bit too.
Yeah. So one of the things originally, so let's say 3 years ago, when there were less business pages, there were a lot of people, but there were less business pages, less fan pages, less brand pages, or at least they weren't used as often. The reach you would get on posts was a lot higher, just because there's less noise, there's less people chattering, trying to get, my post seen over yours, and etc. So then, the first few people that believed in paid advertising with, hey, I don't mind paying $5, $50 to get my message out. And those were the first people, that took advantage of, wow, I can sell stuff on here and it's actually really cheap. So I believe that it's like anything else out there. The more people that are in the pool, the more clogged it's going to become, and the more difficult it's going to be to get quality. If you want quality, you got to pay for it, and it's going to drive that cost up.
It could change the landscape a little bit from, free services using outside advertisement, pop-ups, et cetera, to more organic monies flowing through their users, right? So it totally changes the landscape potentially. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that, because it's the whole landscape is gonna have to be very strategic. Live is really gonna be one of the most unrestricted things. So the individuals who are not afraid to say do a product demo live for their product, it's gonna announce, hey, Dr. David Carley's online, and then being able to interact, engage, that's gonna be huge. And again, being creative, because even with a paid ad, the quality still matters. The more relevant the ad is targeted, number one, and the higher level of content based on those users that it is, you get a relevancy score. The closer to 10 you get, typically the cheaper the conversion is, conversion being a click through to buy or shop or view, than it would be if you just threw something together with text. So it's really going to be, strategy is going to be very important. Spending time on campaigns, very important. If not, I have a feeling that a lot of small business owners, because, it's definitely true that, not everybody can afford to pay to have someone do it or take
Right.
the time to learn. So
Right.
they're going to be forced to, well, I'll just throw $50 at this. It'll have to work, and it won't. So you're going to get a lot of people that are frustrated, and as this continues to grow, brick and mortar, as we've seen with Amazon, it's going to be really interesting how they can continue to operate.
Well, therein lies a great business opportunity for someone, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So it will create market space just by its own nature. So let's use davidcarley.com as an example. Maybe we can use that to try to help some other people, a young entrepreneur out there or a startup business that wants to aggressively engage social media platforms. And let's talk a little bit about when I came to you guys with this idea and this concept, which is a fairly broad one. It's a lifestyle play. It's a personal brand play, but it has a lot of moving parts, a lot of elements. Walk our listeners through kind of your thought process for me in terms of what was the initial platform and initial strategy that we're using now to try to work around changing landscape and make it as efficient as possible, as cost effective as possible, but get the reach out to as many people as we could.
Sure. Aaron, since you've started off most of the ads, do you want to kick this off and then I can jump in? Or
Sure. So I want to touch on a couple things with that being said, because we have we have a game plan change that's happening, so to speak. Let's call it, an audible with all this thing happening. So some of the things that we had planned to do for the DK brand are now going to be changing. And I'm going to go back and touch a little bit based something on Adam would say with the live video aspect. Think of it metaphorically or as an analogy. Back before social media, we used to have these pin boards at certain places, whether it was your local coffee shop or it was the library, and everyone had an opportunity to place their business card or their flyer on it, correct? And so it got to the point where obviously it was free advertisement and it got out of hand to the point where you couldn't find a push pin, you couldn't find a place to put your card. That is the Facebook timeline right now. So the only people that are actually getting any business and all that noise is the ones that did like the Lionel Richie, hello, is it me you're looking for? And they had a phone number that you tore off and, you were like, that's hilarious. I have to see what this is. And you called a number and it was, whatever, it could be. So there was creative ways to stand out in that. And so I just wanted to kind of put that into perspective for some people who, are on the novice level or the layman level of social media and think about it from the traditional past. So that's where we're at. To talk about as far as game plan goes and some things in the beginning, we wanted to lay the groundwork for the DK brand. Obviously, you have a three-headed monster here, and which is a unique thing that not a lot of people have. A lot of people are focused on their one strength and their branding. That we're focusing on the several strengths that you have between the physician and the regenerative medicine, to the fitness, and all the way to the entrepreneurialism, Entrepreneur MD. So we have a lot we're working with. The main goal was making everything that we pushed out very clear and concise and brand message to the people that it would particularly resonate with. But at the same time, across the board, if you saw something that came from DK Fit, that was a fitness content push, you knew that it came from the DK brand because it tied in. It was eloquent, it was written, it was clear, it was, creative, all in the same library, so to speak. So the message was clear. It was down the same avenue. We were just taking a different lane. So keeping the, I guess, continuity across the board was one of our main focuses. Obviously, we've been doing some ad work for you. We have some great deliverables that have been coming out. DK Fit Phase 1 plan is out now. Now we're rolling on to nutrition plan phase 1. And, we're touching and going on all platforms. Like I said before, being omnipresent, we have Snapchat swipe ups, IG story snap ups. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube. You can get all of your Entrepreneur MD videos on YouTube in long form. You can get them on Facebook as well, but we're doing the small, short, enticing videos because we know the attention span on some of the platforms is very short. So we just want to let them know if we're appealing to them, we're putting that ad in front of people we already know are interested in it, that if they want to watch it, they get off that platform, they go on that longer platform, they save it for later, and they watch it. So that mentality still stands true. However, how are we going to change after Facebook apocalypse? So a couple of things. Facebook Live video to me is going to be so much more important now. And again, going to your organic post, it may be a question that you ask and you engage people, but you talk about a question, you get them talking, and then you go, okay, we're going to discuss that question at Facebook Live on Thursday at 7 p.m. Tune in where we can do a Q&A, and we can all answer these questions from the comment threads. We can all have a conversation about it, and I can give my professional opinion, whether that be from the stem cell side or the fitness side or nutrition, and etc. So so that's one way. The other way is Messenger. I think a lot of what you saw going on in the timeline is going to happen in Messenger, where it's the interaction, whether it's we have our followers that we can reach out to. We can have message bots talking to them when you're not available, being able to set up the conversation for a further date, or whether it's, they ask you a question and then we can say from the Messenger bot, yes, we'll be answering those questions on Thursday at 7 p.m. Join us for our Facebook Live. So I think a lot of it's going to be go live. I think a lot of it's going to be in the Messenger aspect. It's funny because I keep telling people this when we have conversations about the platform algorithm change. It's almost like we have to train ourselves to be human again, which is so out of sorts. Luckily, I still come from a little bit. I'm on the fringe of the millennial. I'm a little bit older than that, but I still remember what it's like to be interactive on the social platform that's not digital. So, so I'm excited for the future, but it's so crazy how now an algorithm is going to be demoting people for being less human. So a computer generated, program, so to speak, is now going to be judging people based on their humanity. So here we are. And it's just thinking about those things when you proceed.
I think that's a great point, Aaron. And I think maybe if we view it in that light, we can think about it positively, because at the end of the day, talented people with a good, strong message and strong content now can be potentially an even more powerful force. Whereas before it was passively blast people, now we get to take advantage of interactive skill sets, and people who have those skill sets are going to be in an advantage and are going to be able maybe to roll through this new system pretty effectively.
So it's a catch-22. So I talked about artists and musicians where I feel like this is going to hurt them the most. At the same time, those are the people where it benefits them the most as well. Because think about an artist or a musician. Think about a musician who constantly just posted flyers of where he was performing, and that was it. So that content coming to you or I or Adam, we would probably be a little bit sick of it after a while, because maybe they were a friend of ours and we went to see them perform once in a while, but every single time they hit our timeline, it was the same really horribly designed flyer of where they're playing, right? So you'd eventually unfollow them. However, if they just took the time to do some video of themselves performing, just an intimate setting, Facebook Live, here I'm going live, I'm just going to show you my new song. Then as we're thumbing through our timelines and we see the picture of them performing live, we stop, we listen to it for a second, and then we're like, okay, now you're consuming. It's not so passive. Like you could say, hey, I like that song. Or you stop in the middle of your performance and say, hey guys, I'm stuck where I'm writing this song. What are your opinions on maybe what the second verse should start with? And then you get the conversation going. And then the next time down the road, 3 or 4 of those, they post about the flyer. Now you feel like you have a piece of their art, or you're a part of the equation. So then, I'm going to go check this guy out. So that's just kind of, again, I'm just trying to throw out some examples of how these things might happen going forward.
Yeah. So, obviously we started the DK concept, davidcarley.com, and the DK brand, and we're marching that forward. And it's been, provide basically free content and value as much as we could. but that brand, like every other brand, is a business. And over time, there will be, commodities and things that people can actually purchase on there. So how does a business, and let's use David Carly or DK brand as an example here, how does a business transition from that early phase, let's get people to know us, let's give them a ton of value that we've got to commercialize, right? How do they make that transition with these new rules in place?
Well, I was going to say, I feel like with that, it's, Gary Vee, very well put it in. And it's essentially, to break down, it's, like you've been doing, it's you're giving, you're gaining brand relevance and recognition. People begin to trust you every time they see the DK. They're like, oh, this guy's great. He's giving me this wealth of information, and it's like, how could I not, trust him? I mean, especially on the fitness side, like, oh, he looks great. He looks the part. Oh, and he's a doctor, and my doctor doesn't look like that. And my trainer isn't a doctor. This is really interesting. And so, you continue to build up that trust in individuals. And then when you do put that link out there and you do spend, your hard-earned money to try to commercialize your business, hopefully the idea is that those people will follow you. They will go and check it out, and they will support you and buy, a book or buy the training material. But it's also important, as we've done with you recently, on your site, we made a change where we made a tab that was DK brands. So that people begin to, understand, okay, DK brands. So anything with DK, obviously it has information after it, but that's what it is. And so it's going to be a value for the user to, if you are going to send them out, spend the money to send them out away from Facebook, then they have a true value when they get there, and it's easily understood, and they're not like frustrated and leave quickly.
Right. And I'm segueing into digital marketing and things which you guys have a lot of expertise with. But I think to that point, Adam, it is a good thing because it forces me to continually provide a lot of value, right? If we want to sell something on social media, and we better be engaging people and giving them a lot of value, or we've got no shot anymore. Right. So I think in that light, it's a positive thing. It's a lot of work. It's obviously, it puts the pressure and onus on the user who's trying to get the message out. But again, I think it will be a good differentiator for those people, as Cardone says, 10X, all in, obsessed, et cetera. People that really want to move their message forward and have to work for it. They're going to have to put the time and the effort in. And, one of the things I want to garner our listeners from this Zoom is that you could use some help too. If I were managing this, I wouldn't be able to do this. I've looked to you guys, obviously, to help me understand an immensely complex type of platform, which isn't as easy as just send out as many posts as possible every day, 12 posts, and you can become the next YouTube sensation or the next social media darling. Right. It doesn't work like that anymore. Now there's strategy involved. Now there's knowledge involved. Now there's people who need to know how to manipulate and craft your brand to be most effective on social media. And that's the transition that's occurring. Yes?
Yeah, absolutely. You think of it as, and I hate to use these analogies, I always have to do with bars. So, but think about it as play darts. You could grab all the darts in the bar, throw them with one hand at the dartboard, and chances are maybe one hits the dart, hits the bullseye or hits the dartboard at all. However, if you take those same amount of darts, you take your time, you focus, and you put your skill set into it, and you aim and you fire each one of those, then strategically you put that dart on the board where you want it to do, where you want it to be. So think about that in posting. Yeah, I could throw 100 darts at the dartboard every day. Whether or not they're going to hit the targets I need them to hit and do anything for me points-wise and increase my score is highly unlikely. So be strategic, be calm, be focused, put in the work, learn how to throw the dart, and put a dart where you need it to be.
Yeah. So let's segue now, guys. We talked about commercialization and, with a business page or something like that, people, their businesses, whether it's personal brand or a company brand or whatever. You guys have a lot of expertise in digital marketing. Talk a little bit about how digital marketing now plays into the new landscape of social media and how we can use digital marketing potentially to help get message out and help to drive commerce.
Sure. So when creating, a digital marketing campaign, some people, like Aaron had said, they just, grab a fistful of darts and throw them all. Now more than ever, it's going to be the utmost importance to take our time, really think about who is our demographic, who's our target, who are we talking to, and lay the groundwork. What are our goals? How much money is it going to cost to obtain this? How long is it going to take to get there? And what are the platforms we need to use? Additionally, using digital marketing to where, yeah, you can, there's a lot of great apps on your phone where you can create, graphic designs and, new portrait mode, like you and I talked about, for a casual setting, especially for someone who doesn't know how to use a DSLR camera. You can't beat portrait mode on an iPhone. It's exceptional.
Right.
And,
Right.
so having those tools, and then, but the difference is going to be, again, the person who takes, a stock image and just throws text on it, or the person who, unfortunately pays graphic designers to at least provide some, and some nice media and some nice assets that match up with their brand message, because everything has to be on brand. So creating that, and then having everything have that concise message in brand image. So the website essentially is a model of the content you're putting out. The social media message is the same thing as the content you created for your blog. And essentially, no matter what, you're putting out the same brand message. You're doing it across all the platforms, but you have a contiguous message. You don't want it to appear like you're scatterbrained. A good example is, some people on Instagram, they'll just post, random things. If it's supposed to be for business, why would you, it's good to have, family image, depending on what brand you're trying to do, but they're just supposed to random photo of their kids. They're not using it for
Yeah,
hashtags.
I see a rebrand in the making here within marketing and social media strategists.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's the direction we're headed now. You want to engage social media effectively, you got to have strategy now. And
Absolutely.
again, I'm sure channels will develop for people to learn this stuff. But certainly in the interim, you take someone like me who's got a lot going on, time constraints are there. We need to be efficient. We've got a brand to move forward. It was certainly, critical for me to seek out you guys. And I'm sure there are a lot of other people like that out there who can help to facilitate this process. So you don't engage yourself, get so frustrated that you quit and give up, because now you can't move forward anymore if you don't know what you're doing. And it becomes a waste of your time, which is, I guess, what the platforms want. They want to weed those people out. They're not serious about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. One of the things, a couple of years back, and it's definitely turned into that, they had said that, they originally wanted, Facebook to essentially become the New York Times that's online. It's basically the best, so that you could almost feel like, which we all pretty much have, but almost in a way do away with looking at New York Times, your local newspaper, because you could just go to Facebook for the information. What's trending is, there an event overseas, what's going on. And with that, I think in doing this, these passive posts, like you said, blasting everybody, it's really going to make, the people like yourself who truly put in the time, who have sought out individuals like us to create that contiguous brand image across the board, or are going to be heard, are going to be seen, are going to be able to advance as they do deserve, versus the guy who, really wearing boxers for a webinar and just throws, a jacket on and really doesn't know what he's doing, but he gets, 10 people to buy his product and he just skims along. There's not going to be any skimming. You're going to be weighted out.
Yeah. So, that's tremendous advice. I didn't know any of this stuff before I was introduced to you guys. And obviously, I rely on you to maintain and keep up with a changing landscape. And I think, the take-home message for others is, if you don't have the time, skill set, nor knowledge to be able to investigate, you better go find someone who can. Otherwise, this whole process and this whole system is going to work against you. So what I would love to do with you guys, since we talked pretty much in broad strokes tonight, is to maybe break this down in future Zooms where we look at Instagram and we look at Facebook and we looked at LinkedIn and we look at Snapchat, and we kind of break down each one and how maybe we can dig into each platform when someone's looking at social media. And we all agree you want multiple platforms, but how to use maybe one more than the other, or influence one more than the other to advance your platform, depending on what it might be. I think there's just an immense amount of content here that people want to know. And we look to experts like you to provide us with some guidance there. So thank you guys so much for being here. We'll continue this discussion. Everybody within marketing, these guys are my go-to team, and you guys also get to see a work in progress here. We are doing this, right? We have not done it. We are doing it. So you can watch how we strategize and how we manipulate the DK brand moving forward, hopefully to a whole lot of success. And you can see how we pivot and change and maybe do things a little bit differently as these algorithms and changing platforms come into play, and we have to adapt to them. So it'll be a cool case study for us and for everyone out there to see exactly what the DK brand does moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's nice for us to see ourselves on camera because we're usually behind the scenes. So maybe it'll give us an opportunity to get better at that. So
yeah, I can put the pressure right back on you.
Exactly. You're the one who's always in front of it. We get to make faces behind the camera. So we'll train ourselves to be better on this side. So yeah, thank you, Dr. Carly. This has been great.
Yeah. So guys, how do we get in touch with Within Marketing? So people want to seek your expertise. Obviously, I would highly recommend it and endorse you completely. How do people get in touch with you if they want to?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. We have a brand new website that we just relaunched, withinmarketing.com. You can reach us via phone there, email. All of our social platforms are there. Everything you need to know about the work we are doing, the work we have done, is right there on the website. So I'd suggest just hitting us up on the website. Facebook, we're Within Marketing, but you can get to all those channels through the website.
And these guys are on the rise, everybody. So get them while you can. I must admit, I'm selfish. I want them to myself, but I know that's not going to happen too much longer because these guys have their game on and they've got their stuff together. So thank you guys again. We'll continue with more follow-up Zooms on this incredibly important topic. And everybody have a good night. Check out davidcarly.com. Phase 1 nutrition is up, Aaron, yes?
Yeah, we're up. We're live.
Up. All you got to do is swipe.
Yeah,
right? So that's on us. Phase 1 exercise and Phase 1 nutrition go in parallel. We're trying to get people moving into simple concepts, but very effective ones with this Phase 1 platform that we're moving forward. So thanks to the Within Marketing guys for making that possible. And we'll continue to bring you more and more content on davidcarly.com, now navigating the complex waters of social media. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, see you.
Bye.